Hello, everyone. Hi. Welcome in. Welcome in. I'm a little tired, but that's fine. I just made it home today. If you couldn't tell, I enjoyed my stay so much. I'll probably come on later and talk about a few things. I just don't have the energy right now. But like a few days after I left, I got a new deck. So I want to get into them. And it's technically not a deck, but it's year two of the Angelarium series. Now they were gonna do an Oracle of the Watchers. I have the Oracle of the Emanations. Those are the angel cards I use sometimes. Um, wow, y'all. Oops, y'all really can't see, but that's fine. But they had these, and since the conference or whatever was canceled this year because of you know COVID, um, the year two was actually discounted. I guess it's something that you can usually only get at the convention. Oh my girl! Oh no! Oh no! Oh, they all over the floor! Come on, y'all already hitting the floor. I can't. Who is this? At Vacay-y, Angel of Sagittarius. Oh, okay. See, that Sagittarius South Node got everything all mixed up. I don't remember what all is featured. Um, Sariel, Angel of the Waning Moon. The moon is actually waning now because it was just full. Let's see. So, Sariel, Angel of the Waning Moon. My body wanes and is distorted. Smoke moves all around me, troublesome clouds. And it is as if I cease to exist. I blink in and out of time and wonder if I can still be seen, when the light of seeing is denied even to me. Do you still whisper at dusk or cry out for me at midnight? Do you still reach to pull yourself up into my light? Or do you ebb as I wane? Oh, I don't really know what these are, y'all. But I think they have some of like the Watchers and stuff. They have some of the Zodiac Angels. They got these things, whatever these are. I don't know how I'm gonna use these or what I'm gonna do with these, but I'll figure it out. I'll figure them out. And then the rest of the cards just like literally spilled out onto the floor. Oh my gosh, come on, y'all. I literally just got this deck. Please don't. And I don't even know how many cards I'm supposed to have. Hi! Also, the tapestry is up now. There you go. Angel of Ruin, Asvio. So, here we go. Sagittarius and the Angel of Ruin is about where these things fall apart. And I guess we're going to be coming out of the South Node. We're going to be transferring between like South Node Sagittarius energy and South Node Scorpio energy. And so, coming into, or until we basically hit the new year, things are going to be shifting into an energy of transition and transformation. Potentially. Oh, here's level one Angel of. Oh, Lelio, Angel of Night. Girl, we see her all the time. There's Lelio. Star Maker. That's that Star Maker energy. What's that one Disney song? A dream is a wish your heart makes when you're fast asleep. There are two Dumas? There are two Dumas. Angel of Dreams. There's the darker one and then the more mystic one. My dreams have been crazy lately. I've been dreaming about people for the last few days. They're tutorials too. So some of these I think he redrew, and so that's why there's two of them. Angel of the Mountain. Oh, I had a dream about the mountain. Oh, two mountains, two dreams. I had the dream about the mountain last year in 789. I guess that. Anyway, um, I've been having a lot of dreams lately, and some of them, like I've had, like there were some random dreams I would have in the past that would involve certain things, and now it's like almost like some of those are Remiel, Angel of Visions. Um, I feel like there's a lot of like dream context that's now happening here lately, where it's like, oh, okay, so that is related to all of whatever. I know I'm being super vague. Oh, here's the Angel of Aries, Malahidiel, Malahadiel. I don't know how to pronounce it. There's the Angel of Aries. Okay. Um, there we go. I think I got all of them. And I think I also know how I'm going to read the Tao Oracle. Oh, this exposure is really bright or something. Hey Siri, turn off overhead. Okay. There you go. The overhead is off. The overhead light was set to green, so that made things a little weird. Um, but like, so for I've been having dreams for a minute about like angels, dreams about fairies, and dreams about some other stuff. And my dreams about fairies before, it was like me hiding a fairy or trying to protect a fairy because people were hunting fairies. But the night before my friend's girlfriend came, I had a dream. Like they were both there, and then in the dream, he was basically like, if you want to like hang out with us or something, then you have to fly, or it was something like that. He was like, you have to levitate, and so in the dream, I remember like sometimes you can feel like energy coming out of like your palms, right? Maybe like your 10th or 11th chakra or something like that. But you can feel energy coming out of your palms. And I remember it was like I was on all fours and I pushed the energy out of my palms and then I like lifted up into the air a little bit. And then after that, it was like three like fairy queen looking types of things came and visited, but it's like it was very like after imagey, if that makes any sense. And so it was like they were moving, but the like I don't know how else to describe it. And they were saying something. And then like so she got there Friday evening. And then they asked if I could extend my stay because I was originally going to go home Monday. And I have an eye appointment tomorrow, super early in the morning. Not super early, but early in the morning. So I came back home today, and I did. And those are some of the like I had a really, really, really good time, and there was like really good conversation. I could be authentically me. Like we were singing and humming and whistling and like dancing and like cooking. We went on walks. It was gorgeous. It was gorgeous. The pears started to some of the pear trees started to blossom. Let me see if I can find a picture. And it was a really good time. And then last night, because so he worked second shift, so from 2 to like 11, I would be at the house by myself. And then she was there. But yesterday we had a really, really, really good conversation, and like throughout the whole stay, because I stayed with him last year before the pandemic. It was like early February before things like started shutting down, right? And I was there for like 4 or 5 days, and then like we got into a little argument, and like coming off of it's like these very, very subtle, very minor, possibly like things that I could totally justify, but I just choose to no longer justify it and to release and surrender a lot, and like, and in doing so, to also be a lot less critical and even judgmental. Um, And so there were so many moments where it's like we didn't argue at all this time, which for us is kind of rare. But now I'm like, wow, like was it all me this whole time? Um, but it's like there were some moments when I would notice like there were things that I could have done that I didn't do. And it wasn't really like I feel like it wasn't by choice. And so there were so many moments that I was like, wow, like if I would have said something or if I would have done something different, like this could have potentially turned into like a moment that ruined the trip, but I didn't. And there were like lots of little moments. And then like just being able to like be more fully me. Like, so I've known him for almost 5 years now. We met in 2016. I've known her through him for like 4.5 years. Like whenever she would talk to him on the phone, sometimes I would be there, right? And so we'd have interactions like that. And I did get to spend a little bit of time with them last year, um, because she came a few days. So like we spent Valentine's Day weekend together. They spent Valentine's Day together, and then we spent the rest of the weekend together. Um, but like I really got to talk to her this time, and like I don't know, it was a really really good weekend and our week, and I felt okay to like be myself and to not be, I guess, the version of me that certain events or circumstances or a way that the world works kind of sort of I thought necessitated. Even when we went to, I'm gonna be like real honest. Even when because we went to go visit, I didn't even show y'all the picture. Hold up. Oh, and the like all of the colors were out, girl. It was amazing. I'll just show y'all this one picture. Where is it at? Let's see. Can y'all see that? Like, come on, there you go. Like they were blooming. It was gorgeous outside. The weather was like warm one day, cold the next day. Um, but yeah, it was just such an interesting environment, and to be met there, like honestly, it was such. I don't know. It's hard to describe, but I really enjoyed it, and they're important to me. So it was a very good experience. It was a very eye opening and interesting experience too, because like, and it was in the time of like around the full moon in Libra. Now he's a Libra sun and moon. Um, my Jupiter is in Libra. My Venus is in Aries. So I guess I'm about to have a Venus conjunction, and the Sun is about to conjunct my Venus. But anyway, I don't know, just like being fully and authentically me. And like there are so many things also that from the space and from the place that I'm in now, it's like there are certain things that take a completely different context. I didn't finish saying what I was going to say. We went to one of the Indiana University to their campus in Bloomington Saturday. We were going to go Sunday, but the weather was a lot better Saturday. And then Sunday ended up being really cold. And like there were people without masks or whatever. And I think, and there was a part of me that could have been like a little judgy or whatever. But I was just like, no, like I'm not going to do that. Like they can live their lives and I'll live mine. And just that, I don't know, because I feel like it's so applicable in so many ways where it's like I could think this, I could go about things this way, like I could feel justified in that somehow, but I'm just not gonna do it. I don't know. It was a really, really interesting time. And we played Unravel too. You want to test the friendship. And like we were taking turns because like we were both trying to figure it out and that was a mess. So I was like, we would take turns figuring it out. And then like I would go once and he would go once and then I would go once and then he would go once. And then I was like, I can't look at like everything at the same time. And that's when we started. So I was like, I'm gonna go. You look at the screen and see like what's happening because we couldn't figure it out. And then like he was like, oh, like I figured it out. Like let me go. And there was like he took a lot of turns, and I was like, let me go, let me go. And he was like, no, no, like I almost got it, I almost got it, I almost got it. And I could have been like, like that's not fair, blah blah blah. Like we should keep rotating, but I just let him. I just let him continue. And he like ended up figuring it out and we ended up beating it. And so the first few days of us playing that game was like it was a little hectic. But after that we got into a groove. And again, like that's one of those moments where I could have been like, it's not fair that you keep going and I didn't have a turn. I just let him take it and it ended up working out. But hold on one second. What should she say? Hold up. Sorry, y'all. Sorry. Hey, nice. Oh, okay. Nice. Okay. All right. Um, I could have been like, that's not fair, blah blah blah, but I didn't. And again, in the moment, there was a part of me that almost said it, but then it was like, I really don't care. Like I can just sit here and watch. I can let him try. It's not that big of a deal. And then by the time she came and we played the game together, she saw us playing the game after like we had already figured everything out basically. And she was like, "Oh, you two play together," and like, because first I was like, they were playing together, and of course he didn't take her to the tutorial level. He had her jump in where we left off, and um, she was like, "I could play with him for like 30 seconds," and then I was just frustrated. But you two played together so well, and I was like, "Girl, like you just missed the part where we were literally doing the same thing." Um, and again, it was so many little tiny things that could have like gone left, but everything went right. And even like on his part, um, it was just like I don't know. It was a really good time. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed it immensely. And um, they may not be in the country for too long. Hopefully, things work out with him. But she's going to get her PhD. So, uh, yeah, it was a really good weekend. And I thought that Libra full moon would have given or would have brought, I guess, a lot more challenge. But honestly, it was probably about Libra full moon last year when I started to really get into like self love and stuff like that. And so it hasn't necessarily been an extremely easy year, but the lessening of conditions on love, honestly, it's made it pretty easy. Um, I don't know. And so there is a part of me, honestly, that a little bit it's like I feel like in some ways I may not be able to relate to as many people as much when it comes to going through life Okay. Um, and like the energies for me personally may be different than they are for other people, but also, and maybe maybe that goes back to those dreams I had before. It's like everything is just like, and then there are moments. It's too much to go into. It really isn't. There are moments and times where like I'll be sitting somewhere and I'll just start to get like a little like not woozy, but I'll start to feel like things going on. I'm just like, okay. Um, but also energetically, and I've said it like before, probably almost a year ago, about like creating new channels, creating new energetic paths. And when one person is in the energy, or two people are in the energy, 20 people are in the energy, it makes it more accessible to other people. It grounds it. And so I guess the trade off maybe of like being able to relate to some people in the moment, like experiencing different energies and not like things not being like even 2020 for me wasn't as heavy as it was for a lot of people. But also it's been at that point, it was a year plus of like very intentional and fairly intense work. Um, but anyway, long story short, like if there's a trade off of sort of being able to relate or going through the brunt of it with more people and being on the side of establishing what is to come, then I'll straight to the side of establishing. Um, yeah. So now that I'm home, it's like back to the real world for real now. Um, and so I'm gonna be like looking at jobs and all kinds of stuff. And I'm ready. I'm excited. Uh, it's like I went to Bloomington and I didn't even take my glasses. Like I never would have thought I would be in a position to not need. My eyes have been bad basically since I've been born, and things were so dark. Um, and I was like, because again, I've talked about it before. There was a point in time where it's like I could almost glean into the future a little bit, and in that future, like my eyes weren't a problem. And at that point in time, like I've always believed and I've always held out hope that something would transpire to make my worries and fears and all of that stuff void, and it ended up happening. But at that point I couldn't see it. There was a lot of things I feel like it's like the energy of it being a thing is there, even if I don't understand why or how. But also, I know that I'm going to continue to live life. And I just believe that eventually, one day, someday, it's going to make sense or things are going to build to that point. And that's the thing, I guess, about being a little bit of a potentially a little bit of a high priestessy, hangman-y, like moon, sort of like Piscean, 12th housey type of energy. Um, because like the high priestess would see how everything transpires. That Queen of Cups pre High Priestess energy may see an event, may see a happening, or may see an end goal, but won't necessarily know the steps to get there. Like that's so Raven, right? Anyway, I'm talking a lot. It was a very good time. I've noticed that I've changed a lot. He's changed a lot. She's changed a lot. And we were in a space where like we can enjoy each other. We could still like get at each other a little bit, but it never blew up. It never turned into a huge thing. And honestly, for him and I, it never really went there. And that's another thing. It's just like there were some things to me that used to matter a lot more that just don't matter right now. I just want to like I want to be with people that I love and care about, and anything like there's a lot of other things where it's just like again it could be logical, it could make sense, but I don't really care that much. I don't know. Anyway, to these cards so I can get out of here. Also, I said I had an idea for what I was going to do with the Tao Oracle or the Tao Oracle. Oops, I keep hitting that thing. So in the sections, there's a top line, line one, two, three, four, and then a bottom line. So I'm gonna pull six cards, and I'm gonna read from like the bottom line, the first line, second line, third line, fourth line, top line, and then we'll sort of stitch them all together. And I guess I'll do that here, and then I'm going to like shower, maybe nap, play some games with my brother, watch some anime. I'll probably shower, play some games, watch some anime, and then just try to stay up and sleep through the night tonight. Um, but yeah, so the dream with the fairies and like lightning and flying, I feel like that kind of sort of like it. I guess it ended up happening in a sort of way because things weren't like they just got lighter and lighter and lighter. I wish I could have stayed longer, but I'll see him again. So So the first two cards that came out, it's Barkiel, Angel of Pisces, and Duma, Angel of Dreams. Okay. Angel of Pisces and Angel of Dreams. Look at that. Look at that, child. I didn't even read them. I couldn't read them. Okay, so Barkiel, Angel of Pisces. When harm comes to the people, the relationships, and the things in our lives, we have to take time to help repair them. It's not easy, but bringing those pieces back together is what we have to be to live a good life. In those moments, we are close to Barkiel. Deep down, everyone has a nurturing aspect. Choosing to cultivate it helps bring us closer to our truer selves. Girl, that's been me since the Pisces new moon. When I was like, oh my gosh, realizing all of these things. And then Duma, Angel of Dreams. We saw Duma earlier, didn't we? Angel of Dreams and Angels of the Mountains. We saw both of them. Languishing aloft, the master of dreams rests in repose. Among the stars, it makes its nest. Swathed in silver and gold, an untold truth is to be spoken aloud, lost to the chiming of a bell. I don't think this is the Duma. I don't think that's the version of Duma that I have in Angelarium, the Oracle of Emanations. I also don't know. I think that's a waning moon. It feels like that moon. Let me see it. There it is. It feels like that moon would empty. And we had the angel of the waning moon earlier. Now the second set of two cards, it's this one that don't really say anything. I don't know which angel that is. Maybe you piece them all together and it makes a picture. But it was this side. And look, there's that moon again. Oh, you can't even see it. Hey, Solar Fire. Did you just come in? Oh, 521. Okay, good. I'm so bad with the chat, but people probably wouldn't even notice it because at most I'd be like a minute late. How are you doing today? It's this side. Honestly, it takes me back to Leliel, Angel of Night, and that Star Maker energy. There's a full energy here. There's an energy of the root chakra, and this is like the sky before any star is created. And so it's this energy where we are like we're charting our own stars, we're creating our own constellations. And with this being a full energy and a root energy, it's about us reaching a point within our foundation where we can choose to make light of certain situations, or we can choose to find the light in certain situations. We can choose to literally create stars where there's only darkness. And it reminds me, I was watching Dr. Stone, and basically it's a modern man in a primitive world. And he was like, that's the North Star. It always points north. And then one of the girls was like, it doesn't look like it's pointing true north to me. And he was like, it always points true north. And he was like, oh my gosh, like over 3,700 years, the earth has continued to tilt. And so what used to be the North Star is no longer. It no longer points north because the world has tilted so much, because things have changed so much. And so I guess there is an energy in that, which is why that full and that root chakra energy, like why those energies are so important, because it's almost like it it's like anything and everything is subjected to change, because what used to point true north is no longer true north. And so maybe there was a hope, a dream, an aspiration that used to guide us, or there was something that we used to strive for, that at the time it got us to be in the positions to learn the things, to go through the things that we needed to go through. But it may be time to step your game up. It may be time to dream bigger. Like in Inception, when he was like, don't be afraid to dream bigger, or sometimes you have to dream bigger. And he pulled out like the RPG, right? Or the rocket launcher or whatever. It's that kind of sort of energy. And what's interesting again, though, it's this energy of a waning moon. So theoretically, the night is getting darker, but like that's where the stars will shine, or it's easier to make out the stars because there's nothing else in the sky. I don't know why Star Eater just popped into my mind, but I guess that makes sense coming out of like 2020. Maybe there was a huge Star Eater energy out there that was sort of eating away at things were getting darker. The little rays of light that we had, or the little hopes that we had going through that, maybe we lost some of them. Um, but also, I guess it puts us in a position, it blanks the canvas so we can create whatever constellations we need to guide us. Or we're sort of going to be put in spots and places where we really shine. And so it may be a little uncomfortable. But again, that's that Fool energy that this is carrying. The last card is Matariel, Angel of Rain. O lonely fountain, bless us mortals that dwell beneath you. Let our gratefulness abate your sadness. Let our prayers reach you, lonely Matariel. We seek your embrace. We beg that you may stretch your hand so we may praise your generosity. O great muse of rain, O sustainer of life, we patiently await your blessing. This is not the Matariel that I have in the Angelarium Oracle of Emanations either. I love these. I remember, like, honestly, I saw these on Tumblr a long time ago when Peter Morbach, what's his name? Girl, your name ain't even, girl, how was your name not on the box? How was your name not on the box, Pete? I'm gonna look it up real quick because I want to, be right. I think it's like Peter Morbacher or Peter Morbach or something. Angelarium. Just look up Angelarium. You'll find it. It's like angelarium.com. Uh, and I think it was the Zodiac. It was the Zodiac angels that I actually saw on Tumblr a long time ago. And then one day I saw that he made an Oracle deck. I was like, yeah, Peter Morbacher. MohRBacher. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. I was like, I gotta get it. And I love him. Uh, I was really looking forward to the other Oracle. Anyway, back to this. What this brings to mind is it was after it was really cold and it snowed a lot, and then everything melted. And I was in the car with my grandma one day, and she was like, they said that like it's still pretty dry outside. Like we still need rain even after all that snow melted. And so I guess there's an energy here that it's like it's coming out. Well, let's see. There we go. It's coming out of this dark night energy, and it's almost this like how much more do I have to go through? How much more do blah 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 until I get what I need to grow and nourish what I need to grow and nourish. And there's something about this prayer to Matariel. O great muse of rain, O sustainer of life, we patiently await your blessing. And earlier today, I was thinking of the dream I had a long time ago where it was like a seminar type place. And at the time, it was Abraham Hicks. She's just a person who I was like, oh, that's what this event is. It's a spiritual thing, right? And there was some weird stuff going on, and I was like, I made up an excuse. I was like, oh, I need to like get outside to get some fresh air, and I was like, I'm not going back in there. I'm gone, girl. Something about that ain't right to me. I'm out of here. And so I'm like, scooting and booting, and I see my dad across the street. I was like, what are you doing here? He was like, oh, I came for the party or whatever. I was like, okay, well, where's the car? Because we need to go. And then after that, I saw a bunch of people running out of the building without I saw like people were running out of the building and screaming. And my dad was like, what's going on? I was like, what are you talking about? And he was like, where are their shadows? And they were running out the building and they didn't have any shadows. Now, I still had my shadow. But then I see like all these shadows just like rushing out of the building and attaching to people who didn't have one. And it was like people, and in that moment, I saw one of my friends, and I didn't even talk to him, but I saw like what happened. And it's like everyone was getting in a pool to get rid of their shadows, and then they got out and they were like, oh my gosh, like the shadows are gone, woo. And then the darker shadows came to like occupy a space that had been empty. And I was like, ooh, I'm glad I still got my shadow because, now I ain't got one of these things. But then the rest of that dream was like me. I had to like, because something ended up happening with my dad and he had the car. So I had to go looking for him. There were kids there. There were a lot of kids there, and they were like chained up. And then there were people watching the kids, going back to the Pied Piper of Hamelin and the shades and everything that was about. Um, and then it's like I use the belt because I guess a belt is a symbol of discipline, especially when it comes to children. Um, to get at the people who were like overseeing the kids or whatever. And I saved the kids, and then at the end of the dream, there was somebody who was like, I think I recorded this. It was weird though, because it was like they were like, "Oh, like good job and doing that," and they promoted me to something. And I don't know why I thought about this dream earlier. Um, and then like I came in and there was like the representatives from the dark side and the representatives from the light side, and then there was me sort of in the middle by myself. I'm like, I'm by myself. I ain't even got a team. Wait. But what was interesting is that like the light people were working on the dark side and the dark people were working on the light side. Like it was flipped. I don't know why all of this is coming to mind, but I guess it's this energy of like there's an energy maybe of like going through something, and then there's an energy of growing through something. And sometimes we do. I didn't record it. I didn't record it. There are so many dreams where I'm like, I know I recorded this, but then they don't pop up. So there's a difference between like going through something and growing through something. And I think that's what this material sort of energy is. It's about like when it's raining to nourish the earth. It's not raining to ruin your day or to cancel plans or to do whatever. It's an opportunity for nourishment. Now, us, as like we're like so busy, busy, busy all the time, it inconveniences us to the point where we don't notice more often than not the good that it's actually doing. We don't appreciate that phase of the cycle because it isn't sort of what we prefer to be doing. And more often than not, it causes us to go to places that we prefer not to visit. And it's like those are places that we go with our shadows to grow through them and to heal them, not to sort of disconnect ourselves from them to the point where it's like things end up piling up on us. I don't know. Ambriel, Angel of Gemini, is at the top of the deck. That's interesting because the Angel of Sagittarius came in and like effed everything up. More than half of the deck fell on the floor. Some cards were upright, some cards were in reverse, some cards were face down. But now, like this North Node energy through Ambriel Angel of Gemini is coming in and it's setting things right. It's growing through the difficulties instead of just going through them. It's allowing these experiences to nurture us more fully. Bottom of the deck is Asmodel, Angel of Taurus. See, that it goes back to that energy of like we're entering, I guess, this nodal transition point. We're transitioning from South Node Sagittarius to South Node Scorpio, and from North Node Gemini to North Node Taurus. There's Asmodel. You can see him or her. I don't know. Look at that big old hammer. Angel of Silence, Shatiel, is under Asmodel. To stay steady, enjoying a moment of reprise is not selfish. A breath that takes us back to our center is essential. We must respect the anchor that holds our feet to the ground. When we do this, we wield a strength that can push back against the spin of the world. Asmodel is there, the embodiment of the focus and dedication we hold when we make a commitment, a moment of clarity grasped in a closed fist. So, man, this is getting a little long, but it's fine. It's fine. Actually, I'm gonna leave these on the table. I hope y'all can see them. This thing, it changes every time. But it's an energy of like taking the higher. I'll leave it on Embryo, Angel of Gemini. It's an energy of again. It's like continuing to make the higher choice or defaulting to the higher choice that leads to a greater set of experiences to the point almost where like it isn't even a choice. But then like you sort of notice the difference. Whew, goodness. How long is this video? Oh, it ain't even been an hour yet. Good nights and cozy, folks. Patrick's home. And one of the things that like it just came to me differently, because she said she's an only child. I was like, what? And I was surprised that I was surprised she's an only child because I kind of assume everyone is an only child. And whenever someone's like, I have siblings, I'm like, what? You have siblings? But for her, I was shocked that she's an only child. And she was like, I don't know why, like, people are always surprised. Like, even people who are also only children think that I'm an only child. And it was like, because, like, only children kind of sort of have a vibe to them. And I was like, it's like somebody homeschooled. Have you met anybody homeschooled? And she was like, no. And so I was, I was doing that thing I do where I try to explain why I think a certain way without necessarily being offensive. And then I was like, well, because homeschool kids are typically weird. But then I thought about it, and I was like, oh, it makes sense that they'd be a little weird because when you go to public school or even private school, when you go to school, you get bullied for being weird, and so it's like all of your uniqueness gets bullied out of you. But when you're homeschooled, it's less likely that that happens, and so you basically it's easier to maintain more of who you are when you come into the world. And other people look at it as weird because, we get societally beaten and melted down and molded into whatever suits society. And I was like, oh, I've never even thought about it like that myself. Like they keep all of that uniqueness because it doesn't get bullied out by other kids on the playground. I was like, actually, like that's a good thing. I was like, man, I kind of wish I was homeschooled now, but I got there eventually. Who is this? This is Retreat 33 and Completion 63. The retreat is complete with 30 in between them. I like that. I mean, it completed a lot of things for me personally. Anyway, so I want 5 cards, please. I'm actually going to... I'll get the first one to jump. So I'll keep going until... Oh, there we go. It wasn't really a jump, but I'll take it. So we're starting with Modesty, number 15. So then we go first line. Gosh. Oh, wait, that's 3. Okay, first line, second line, third line. First line, second line, third line. So we get fourth line. And then the fifth line will be the card at the bottom of the deck. So it's enthusiasm. 16. So we got 15, 4 cards, and then 16. And so I guess there's inherently a little bit of a wild goose chase energy, or there's an energy of incrementalism. So it's like, 15, 15 and a quarter, 15 and a half. No, no. 15, 15.2, 15.4, 15.6, 15.8, and then 16. 15, 2, 4, 6. No. Yeah, 8. Whoa. Yeah, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So there's fifths. 5 is a number of uh, change. But 5 is a number, like 3 is also a number of change, but a 3 change is more catalytic. It's more like, two energies come together to give birth to a new energy. 5 is just like the randomness of life. 5, it's an energy of expression. It's an energy of like an unhindered expression. Going back to like homeschool kids, right? It's an energy that doesn't abide by preset law, standard circumstances. What's that word? Societal norms. And so a lot of times it can be seen as disruptive or weird. So let's do this. Right? 15, modesty. Who is this? Here we go. Oop, 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 oop. The changes. So, modesty is moderation, humility, keep it simple, lack of pretense, self respect, sincerity, and respectability. This is bringing in, I think this is heaven over the mountain. This is bringing in a lot of those like root energies and those fool energies. But what it's doing is it's creating it's creating the circumstances for something new to grow, something that is disruptive to previous systems. And the devil is 15, the tower is 16. Here's the trap, here's the release. Moderation could also be a trap if we're in an energy of not being our full authentic self, not speaking our full truth because maybe we got bullied as kids and we don't want to be outcasted or whatever anymore, right? But again, it's coming into that time where we're just going to have to let it go, basically. And so the bottom line here is carefully considering each step you take will create depth and steadiness in your actions and composure. That is all that is needed in order to be successful in whatever you take on now, giving us back that Taurian Asmodel energy. So line number 1 is 54, the marrying maiden. There she is. I think I remember the marrying maiden. The marrying maiden, it was an energy, maybe, of like, you may not necessarily be the first in line for something, but if you handle it with some tact and some wisdom and with some integrity, you can inherit it. But we'll go to second line. And so I'll reread these every time. I hope I can keep them all straight. So, oh, girl, I got an extra card. Wait, no. Bottom line, line 2, 3, 4, 5, and then top line. Bottom line, 2, 3, 4, 5, top line. Okay. So, carefully considering each step you take will create depth and steadiness in your actions and composure. That is all that is needed in order to be successful in whatever you take on now. It is helpful to remember that sorrow can be a turning point that shifts your focus towards respecting yourself, rather than hoping that respect will be given to you by others. It takes courage to follow your own path, especially when it flies in the face of convention. Nevertheless, anything short of walking that path is a denial of your right to grow into your own individual uniqueness. I'm loving the cohesiveness of this, girl. Thank you. Line 3, we have 22. Grace. Coming in with grace. I actually love this. I'm loving all of this. Um, so let me find this. Girl. Hold up, y'all. Because this is going to be difficult for me to keep track of. No! Who is this? Who is this? Aziraphale, Angel of Song? Aziraphale, Angel of Song was still on the floor. Girl, what are you doing? We're going to read you after. She's actually kind of perfect for this. As far as like the Aziraphale and the Angelarium Oracle of Emanations, she carries a message of like one thing ending and another thing beginning. But a lot of times as humans, again with that 5 energy, we fear it. 1 second, y'all. Hold it. Hold up, 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 hold up. I got some little pieces of paper that I can use. I just need a few. Excuse me, that one song by Sierra and Bow Wow just popped into my head. I ain't never had nobody show me all the things that you done show me in a special way. I feel when you hold me, we gon' always be together, baby. That's what you told me, and I believe it, cause I ain't never had nobody do me like you. And then you get to the end of the music video, and they're not even together, and it's like, wait. Okay, there we go. So I got these little pieces of paper to help me keep my position. So 22, Grace. Oh, right here. All right. So we're starting from the beginning again. Carefully considering each step you take will create depth and steadiness in your actions and composure. That is all that is needed in order to be successful in whatever you take on now. It is helpful to remember that sorrow can be a turning point that shifts your focus toward respecting yourself, rather than hoping that respect will be given to you by others. It takes courage to follow your own path, especially when it flies in the face of convention. Nevertheless, anything short of walking that path is a denial of your right to grow into your own individual uniqueness. When everything is so perfect, it can be tempting just to sit down in the hope that the moment will thereby be frozen in time and last forever. No such luck. Life is energy. Energy needs movement, and movement means change. Celebrate that too, and it's more likely that the next moment will bring beauties of its own. Oh, see, that's that Matario energy kind of sort of coming through, which is again, it's like, it's not just going through it, growing through it. The rain is necessary to make things grow. Loving this, loving this, loving this. It's cohesive. Next is splitting apart. 23. We go from 22 to 23, gals. So I use girl as a gender neutral pronoun. If you didn't know, I also use she as gender neutral pronouns. Sometimes I refer to myself as she. I mean, I'm gay, but like that's not. I guess like not every gay person is like that, but sometimes it's the lingo, girl. We all she, her. Uh, you know. So carefully considering each step you take will create depth and steadiness in your actions and composure. That is all that is needed in order to be successful in whatever you take on now. It is helpful to remember that sorrow can be a turning point that shifts your focus toward respecting yourself rather than hoping that respect will be given to you by others. It takes courage to follow your own path, especially when it flies in the face of convention. Nevertheless, anything short of walking that path is a denial of your right to grow into your own individual uniqueness. Oops, sorry. Almost went for the wrong one. When everything is so perfect, it can be tempting just to sit down in the hope that the moment will thereby be frozen in time and last forever. No such luck. Life is energy. Energy needs movement, and movement means change. Celebrate that too, and it's more likely that the next moment will bring beauties of its own. When the curtain comes down, the show is over. There is nothing to be done now but accept the finality of this time. Okay. And then step number 4, or 5 technically, is 61, inner truth. So we go from grace to splitting apart to inner truth. Love it. And this is mountain over heaven. Heaven over the mountain is right here. Okay. Works this. This is 51. Let's see. Wait, no, this ain't 51. This is 61. Hello? How did I get that confused? It said something about arousing something. I was like, wait, this is not arousing nothing. 60 is limitation, so we're overcoming that to get to the inner truth. Okay, I'm out of different colors, so I'll start with blue again. So, carefully considering each step you take will create depth and steadiness in your actions and composure. That is all that is needed in order to be successful in whatever you take on now. It is helpful to remember that sorrow can be a turning point that shifts your focus toward respecting yourself rather than hoping that respect will be given to you by others. It takes courage to follow your own path, especially when it flies in the face of convention. Nevertheless, anything short of walking that path is a denial of your right to grow into your own individual uniqueness. When everything is so perfect, it can be tempting just to sit down in the hope that the moment will thereby be frozen in time and last forever. No such luck. Life is energy, energy needs movement, and movement means change. Celebrate that too, and it's more likely that the next moment will bring beauties of its own. When the curtain comes down, the show is over. There is nothing to be done now but accept that finality of this time. Like a mirror, you are able simply to reflect what is without passing judgment or distorting the images with preconceived ideas about how things should be. There we go, back to releasing those preconceived notions. Preconceived notions was this, right? Lack of pretension. Lack of pretension. I guess it's in there. Keep it simple, lack of pretension. Maybe not, yo. So last again is enthusiasm. So after all that, we finally make it to the tower energy and break free. So this is really about accepting. I think sometimes we want certain cycles to end, but actually allowing them to end is difficult. And I feel like sometimes that difficulty, it almost rests solely in like in a fear or an uncomfort with the unknown. And maybe, it hurts to hope and then be let down, but you got to risk it if you want the biscuit, right? No risk it, no biscuit. No tisket, no tasket. No green and yellow or silver and gold basket. Okay, so the full thing. Carefully considering each step you take will create depth and steadiness in your actions and composure. That is all that is needed in order to be successful in whatever you take on now. It is helpful to remember that sorrow can be a turning point that shifts your focus toward respecting yourself rather than hoping that respect will be given to you by others. It takes courage to follow your own path, especially when it flies in the face of convention. Nevertheless, anything short of walking that path is a denial of your right to grow into your own individual uniqueness. When everything is so perfect, it can be tempting just to sit down in the hope that the moment will thereby be frozen in time and last forever. No such luck. Life is energy, and energy needs movement, and movement means change. Celebrate that too, and it's more likely that the next moment will bring beauties of its own. When the curtain comes down, the show is over. There is nothing to be done now but accept that the finality of this time. Some note, like a mirror, you are able to simply reflect what is without passing judgment or distorting the images with preconceived ideas about how things should be. You have allowed yourself to be enthusiastically swept away and have fallen into delusions of grandeur. Returning to reality may be something of a shock. Nevertheless, if you accept the jolt and move with the changes that need to happen now, you will be made stronger and more realistic by this humbling, if not rocky, experience. And so I feel like that kind of sort of, in a way, sums up a lot of the spiritual journey. And how there are moments and times it's like where, we get a little bit of healing, we're feeling good, we want to sit in that moment forever. It's hard for us to, I guess, maybe accept that all of the work that we've done isn't everything that we need to do. It can be, I guess, a little daunting, especially if you're in a position of feeling like, the healing will never be over or the work will never be over. But then it comes in the energy of like needing to accept that, like, you still have more growing to do. And if you can celebrate a season rather than dreading the finality of it or the ephemerality of it, the short-livedness of it, that it doesn't last forever, then you come into this space of that's closer to inner truth. You come into a space of being able to see things as they are rather than as you need for them to be to continue whatever storyline that you're putting on, right? Because you allow the curtain to drop. And because you allow the curtain to drop, you allow yourself to come into a new moment without that need of continuity from the last one, or you're going to be coming into this. And then it's going to bring you into this energy of it's it's like near limitlessness. It's an energy of liberation, it's an energy of a newness. But even in that liberation, even in that newness, there will come another challenge. And so it's not to fill your head so much or too much because you get a little bit of experience under your belt. It's to continue to almost be humble, I guess, as you grow and evolve and change. And it's like with the Wheel of Fortune, we're constantly going through the major arcana from fool to world, fool to world, fool to world. Because it's like every time you reach the world, you realize that there's so much more world to be seen. And so you're a fool again. And then you go through the whole process all over. Now you can take an elevated sort of path. You can pull on the higher of the energies as you go through them again and sort of end up on this upward spiral. I don't know if you talk about DNA, but that's kind of sort of the storyline here. I actually am going to read this too. Enthusiasm is self expression, inspiring others, self confidence, totality, success, sharing, and a positive response. This looks like thunder over heaven, I'm assuming. There's something in this. I'm almost getting the image of like this is a seed, and like there's like this is a seed, and this person is pulling the like basically the growth, pulling the plant out of the seed rather than planting the seed and letting it grow naturally. Which it's like you can coax. certain energies out of a more infantile state, you can encourage it to mature quicker. But if you don't have the ability to also accelerate that seed's ability to take in nutrients, then it's almost like it's gonna overgrow and then die. Like if we want to speed something up, there are multiple things that also need to speed up. If you're gonna expedite a process, everything needs to happen quicker. And so too does that appreciation of cycles and the letting go and the healing. Like if you're gonna speed up your journey, like you have to almost do that sort of continuously. And it feels like we may be coming into a position where we can do that continuously. But we're able to do that continuously because we take each moment as the moment. Because we let go of the need for continuity. We let go of the need for things to flow from one state into the other. It's an energy again, it's like that shortcut is coming through. The energy of the shortcut came through recently too. And it was kind of sort of gone for a minute. Now let's look at Aziraphale. The ecstasies above, with thy burning measures suit, thy grief, thy joy, thy hate, thy love, with the fervor of thy flute. Okay, girl. Sorry. This, I don't know if this is the Aziraphale Angel of Song in the Angelarium, but it looks more similar. I don't think it is. No, it's not. It isn't. That one part, thy grief, thy joy, thy hate, thy love, with the fervor of thy flute. Like that, to me, it's again, it's an energy of sort of like accepting every cycle as it is. And there's a little bit of conservation, but conservation looks different in different ways. It's coming through almost as an energy of pairing. And so instead of like going in a linear process, it's an energy of like creating feedback loops. It's an energy of what's that word? When you feed it back into the system, it's an energy of feeding something back into the system, or it's an energy of pairing multiple things together. Yeah, it's that pairing energy where let's say that there's something that gives off a certain amount of energy, excuse me, and then there's another process that requires a certain amount of energy to proceed. So you pair the thing that needs energy with the thing that gives energy, and it creates this self-contained, almost infinite loop. And so everything is conserved, but it plays out in a way that's completely different. And that's what I got. The bottom of the deck under that is number 18. Work on what has been spoiled. Work on what has been spoiled. This is healing, correct past mistakes, make repairs, clean up corruption, restore balance, and responsible action. There's a need, I mean, accountability is all over this. And I mean, that's it. It's basically just accountability and the need to be accountable as we move forward. And also, while it is accountability, I think it's also a little bit of understanding that we are who we are when we are. And we are all of that with what we know at the time. And so it's not necessarily to be harsh on ourselves or to beat ourselves up over the things that we did in the past, but it is at the same time to be accountable for them in whatever way we need to be, right? So, final message from the Tao Oracle, please. Like one or two cards would be superfluous. One or two cards would be superfluous. Okay, so I'm not going to do it. It would be unnecessary and extra. But I will get an angel. I'll get an angel. Why did that one song just pop into my mind? I need a hero. I'm holding out for a hero by the end of the night. He's gotta be this, and he's gotta be that, and he's gotta be larger than life. And the divine is like, you're gonna get the hero that. Oh, that popped into my mind the other day. I was just thinking, things pop into my mind all the time. Low-key, like, if you're wondering why I don't sit here, I don't know if you are or not, but if you're wondering why I don't sit here and go like, Holy Father, angel spirits, guides, energy of love and light in the universe, that which flows between all, that which is both everything and nothing, the breath and the body, like, give me whatever. It's because for me, low key, that conversation is constantly happening. Um, so anyway, I was thinking yesterday because some events, I guess, had gone down, and it made me wonder because I remember 2 years ago when I was starving in my apartment. I took a semester off. I wasn't working, and I was working on my spiritual growth. I was doing my meditating and everything like that. Right? I was coming across whatever I was coming across. I'm just like, okay. But I would always tell myself that I couldn't work on what I needed to work on mentally because I was always either working or in school. And then it came to me. It's like there are certain conditions that we necessitate for other things to happen. A lot of times it's like, oh, I would do this, but I have that. There we go. It's like, I would do this, but I have that. Or like, I can't do this because of that. And so maybe there was a time where the conditions, the circumstances, it's all about circumstances. Maybe we come into an energy where the circumstances change in such a way that we can do whatever it is that we couldn't do because of whatever reason, right? And so let me try to think of something. Right, let's say that like you're like, oh, I would like look for more work, or I would look for a job that like fulfills me in some way, but I don't have time because I'm always at work. And then let's say you get fired. And then you're like, oh my gosh, like, why did I get fired? Blah, blah, blah. But there is also this energy of like, it came to the time where the divine needed you to do something. The divine needs you to be on point, on purpose, on mission. The divine needs for you to be fulfilled so you can pour into other people or whatever. And so the divine brings you the conditions, maybe in a way that you didn't expect, or in a way that you don't immediately recognize, or in a way that's a lot more inconvenient than you thought it would be. Insert Matariel, angel of rain. But it's to grow you. It's to put you in a position to do what it is that you've never had the time to do, or you had too much time to do, or there was too much pressure in this way, or not enough in that way, or whatever you needed. It's like the divine will bring it to you, but it's going to sort of come with the energy of a tower because it was something so big, or something so that took up so much time or space that you couldn't do whatever it is that you needed to do. So now insert energy of, I guess, like Uranus or Saturn, right? I think I'm like, low key, is that a little like Jupiter in the shadow? Maybe not. Um, and so it's like you get that. Like for me, I was like semester after semester after semester, I'm telling my professor, yeah, I got like depressed AF, and all of this stuff is going on, and I just don't, like, between classes and the school year and work over the summer, I don't have enough time to sit with myself and to do this. And so insert the opportunity, no class, no work. Also insert hungry, insert don't know how I'm going to pay my rent, insert all of this other stuff. But those were the circumstances that I laid out to do whatever. And it came the time for me to do that. And so maybe if you find yourself in a bit of difficulty, or you're coming upon whatever that seems really inconvenient, or it seems that like you should be in a better space, in a better place, in a better position, look at your circumstances and ask yourself if this isn't the requirement that you said you needed to fulfill whatever. Because if all of that other stuff was going on, you'd never do it. Potentially. If it resonates, take it. If it doesn't, don't always. Right? Never take anything that doesn't resonate for you. Or maybe maybe just listen to it a little bit. This card immediately flipped right back over. And it's this one. It's the need for that full energy. It's the need to go into the root, to do some foundation work, some root work, to pull up that which served for a previous time but doesn't serve for the coming time or the now times, and to be open and courageous and brave enough to experience the world from a more vulnerable position, to allow the divine, to allow the spirit of love, and to allow sort of like energies of abundance to come through. And the fool is also, it has a sort of innate strength. It sets out with almost nothing, not expecting to fail. And so there's going to be some challenges. There's going to be some difficulties. It's like a green horn, newbie, novice, initiate type of energy. But through challenges and obstacles and through opposition and through allies and friends and through all of that, we come into the position of acquiring everything we need. Oh, look, I'm wearing a red shirt today. And I got the key. Red is the key. The root is the key, okay? Higher heart, pink. Pink Saturn. Saturn loves you. um, it's the key to making it through this. And it's like, ooh, if I would have known it was going to be this difficult, maybe I wouldn't have did it. If I had known that I was going to starve and be stressed, maybe I wouldn't have been like, oh, I need for this to happen before I can do that. But also, I fully recognize and understand that what I said was kind of sort of true. When there are other things that I have to do, I prefer to do those things rather than think about the things that I don't like thinking about. Again, the rain serves a purpose. Matario ain't just out here raining on your parade because she wants to be a killjoy. It happens for a reason. Top of the deck is Asmodel. Again, Angel of Taurus. Oh, you can't see it. Again, Angel of Taurus. This is the same Asmodel. I think there's only one Asmodel. And that's, again, it's the energy of the North Node shifting from Gemini into Taurus. North Node Gemini is when we're out and we're experiencing new things and we're going through things that we don't necessarily have a whole bunch of information on. We may have some information. It's a time of experimentation. It's a time of like growing through community, maybe. And we're shifting into Taurus, where everything is needing to become more solid. We're needing to work it into our foundations. We're needing to be fixed. Before Gemini, North Node was in Cancer, where we're opening our hearts, we're getting closer to spirit, we're doing all of this stuff, right? But again, everything is shifting into Taurus. Or we're in a position of transitioning into Taurus. I think the nodes are, let's see where they are real quick. They may not be less than 10 degrees. They may not be. I might be making that up. Hold it. Because last time I looked at them, I think they were getting close to 10, maybe. North Node is 12 degrees Gemini. Okay. So we're nearing the first decan. We're nearing the wrap up, right? And Mars is 16 degrees Gemini. Bottom of the deck is Satario, Angel of Deception. While Samyaza created the flax of truth, Satario would spin it into thread and weave it into the very reality around him. He was entrancing. The patterns of his wings would flex and flow with his impersonations, making his performances irresistible to watch. When he was stabbed through the heart, no one had any idea what had really happened. His death was met with applause for its realism. This is coming out heavy. It's the energy of self deception. And it's an energy, Gabriel, the Golden Herald, is beyond this. It's an energy of self deception, and it is an energy of deception, but it isn't necessarily for malicious purposes, right? It's that, like, it's almost like a boy who cried wolf type of energy, but it's also like if you're the type of person where whenever someone notices that you're going through something and they ask you, like, hey, are you okay? And you're like, yeah, I'm fine. Yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine. Then it's almost an energy of like when you need someone the most, maybe it's almost like no one will be there because what they read as a sign, you tell them that they're misinterpreting. And so it's like there comes a time where you'll really need someone, or maybe you're in a position of needing someone now, but there's been so much of this like misdirection, misty, like you're not seeing what you're seeing type of energy, and that can be in any way. That it's like all of the signs are there, but no one can tell how serious it is. Communication is going to be important. Vulnerability is going to be important if that resonates for you. And it reminds me of it's one episode of the Boondocks where there's this rapper and he has a song. It's like I got shot, right? And he's like I got shot, and then everybody else in the audience is like I got shot, and then some dudes was that I forget his name. Was he Thuggin' Love? He was. Okay, anyway. Sorry. Um but then like people came out on stage and they shot him. And he's like, "Oh, I got shot." And then everyone was like, "Oh, I got shot." And he's like, "No, I got shot for real." And then they're like, "No, I got shot for real," because they thought it was a part of the performance. But he did really get shot. And so there's an energy here of like the performance and reality. And because of the performance, others can't tell the reality. And then they praise you for the reality. I don't know. And I guess that kind of sort of it takes me back to that energy where people were getting rid of their shadows. That's like just going through it rather than growing through it. So that's what I got. I think I'm gonna watch this back and I'm gonna timestamp it a little bit. The part with these. Oh, now is at the top of the deck. Now they're at the top of the deck. Who's at the bottom now? At the bottom now is Cancer. Yeah, is Muriel, Angel of Cancer. So I told like that's when the North Node was in Cancer, and then again, it's at Vacay-y, Angel of Sagittarius, with Cocabiel, Angel of Stars. Ooh, stars. It's like we've already sort of gone through the time where the North Node was in Cancer. Everything that we need, like that connection, is established. You just have to sort of key into it. And when you key into that connection, it's going to guide you in navigating all of this South Node Sagittarius stuff, navigating all of the philosophies, all of the things that you've been trained and conditioned and programmed to believe, and how they sort of fit and don't fit, how certain solutions aren't necessarily practical. And then it's going to carry you through this transition as we shift from South Node in Sagittarius to South Node in Scorpio. Both Scorpio and Taurus are fixed. But it's like either you're going to sort of fix yourself in a Scorpio nightmare or you're going to fix yourself in that Taurus dream of leisure and comfort. And fixing yourself in Taurus, creating that foundation, it puts you in a position to be solid on your own. The foundation in Scorpio, it relies on other people. It relies on the conditions to be right. It relies on like nothing bad is happening in my life. Everything is literally perfect because as soon as anything happens, I'm back in the Scorpio depths. It's when it comes to abundance, Taurus is like, your abundance, your money. Scorpio is like communal, it's inheritances, it's other people's money. And that's where the South Node is right now. And I guess as like systems are breaking down and as our thoughts and the philosophies and the education behind those systems are breaking down, when the South Node shifts into Scorpio, it's going to be like, well, I don't. It's like that steady part of decay where it just finally dies, and it's like I had less and less and less and less to sort of look up to. And again, with one of those cards, with this, it was line two. Like this sorrow is pushing you to respect yourself rather than hoping to get respect from other people. So that's what I got. I hope y'all have a good whatever whenever you see this. I hope you're acting in alignment to make all that you wish to experience your reality. Like I said, episode 2 of the podcast is up. Tranquil Leaves Podcast. My girl, she sent me a message saying it's available on more platforms now. And yeah, I'm really proud of the second one. We were really vulnerable. And I talked about some stuff that I literally just realized. So here we go. All right. See ya. Bye. I'm going to go.